We're seeing two narratives develop in the state of Wisconsin. The first one is the number of mail-in ballots. This is how many people have asked for a mail-in ballot. More than 1.8 million people in Wisconsin. Keep in mind, we're going to have about 3 million voters when it's all said and done. So let's look at how many of those ballots have already been returned. 1.54 million ballots have been returned. But I want to take you into Milwaukee County to talk about the other narrative. Right now, 250,000 ballots have come in, and there also have been some early voting, 64,000. But the total so far, 250,000 people have already voted in Milwaukee County, and that means all of those ballots will be counted starting election morning at 7 a.m. So let's talk about the numbers with our election expert, Neil Albrecht, former executive director of the Milwaukee Election Commission. Neil, we appreciate you have been here for the last several weeks. Let's talk about that. Take me inside a polling place on Election Day. You'll have people coming in to vote that day, and you'll have these pile of absentee ballots. Which ballot gets counted first?
Sure, Charles. So maybe a good place for us to start is that in Wisconsin, there are two different options that municipal clerks have for processing absentee ballots. They can either do it at the polling place or they can do it at a central count location. In the city of Milwaukee, we do it at a central count location. I know many of the other Milwaukee County municipalities do it at their polling places on election day. The order in which it occurs is really based on when there is time, when there are not voters standing in line. You try to squeeze in the processing of those absentee ballots at the polling places. At the city's central count location, they start first thing in the morning when the polls open at 7 a.m. As I'm sure you can imagine, it is a day-long and then some process.
Yeah, because people have to remember here, you have to open an envelope, there's some paperwork there, and then put it in the machine. Are these ballots actually going into a machine?
They are fed into high-speed tabulators or into the voting equipment at polling places. And maybe a way to think about it is the people who work with the processing of these absentee ballots are really acting on behalf of the voter on election day, both the check-in process and the process of inserting that ballot into a tabulator. It is a time-consuming process.
Well, you say time-consuming. We seem to be in this fast food era. We want it as fast as we can for election results. Given the unprecedented numbers of absentee ballots, what's the expectation? What should voters and people at home expect during the night?
Well, I want to be an optimist here, but I'll be a realist. As you mentioned, the word unprecedented. This is an unprecedented volume of absentee ballots. In the city of Milwaukee, the highest that had ever been processed was around 60,000. We'll probably see somewhere between 180,000 and
Wow.
200,000 just for the city. That could lead to a very long night and even into the next day. So I think, unfortunately, it is safe to say we will not see results at least until very late in the night on election night.
All right, Neil Albrecht, we appreciate your time. Thank you. On November 3rd, we hope that you make TMJ4 News your home for Election Day coverage. Be sure to get all your live election updates on air and online and all of our streaming platforms.